To the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We are at Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we're going to be talking with the all-time strikeout leader in SEMO softball history. Rachel Rook is here. She is a member of the Ginger Party, so we certainly welcome her. Mark Redburn, who just picked up his 400th career victory as a softball coach, is going to join us a little bit later on, and we invite you to join us as well. You can stop by for lunch. We've got plenty of terrific food here at Wings Etc. And if you've not seen their revamped menu, you really need to give it a look. They have a brand new burger menu that includes their newest burger, the Mushroom and Swiss Diner Burger. But their burgers are outstanding. When you think Wings Etc., obviously you think chicken. Well, you need to think burgers as well. They also have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. Their appetizer lineup is terrific. It includes their ultimate nachos. And you better be hungry if you're going to order the ultimate nachos, because that platter is huge. They also have their spicy, deep-fried pickled chips. And if you're coming for lunch, their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $7.99. And things have changed here at Wings. You can actually log on and get your order and stop by and pick it up. Or if you'd like to have it delivered, they will do that now through the DoorDash app. If you're not familiar with DoorDash, just go to your app store, download the DoorDash app. It is free. Set up your account. It'll take you just mere minutes, and then you can order Wings Etc. and have it delivered wherever you are. It is the home of the Coaches Show, Wings Etc. Good food, great times. And this programming note will be over in Titletown. Next week we'll be at the Jackson location for Wings Etc. We're going to talk some Red Hawks softball right now. And Rachel Rook, ace pitcher for the Red Hawks, is here. Rachel, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am well. Not as good as you, though. You just broke Elaine Fisher's all-time strikeout record over the weekend against Tennessee State. I'm sure you're more excited to get off to a 3-0 start in conference play, but let's talk about the individual accolade. How did that feel, and did you know when you got that strikeout, did anything happen? Did they announce it over the PA? Did you know that you had broken the record? Your thoughts on it?
Well, coming into the game, I knew I was close with the whole weekend write-up that Jeff Hansa does. But in the moment, I didn't know, but I heard everybody kind of yelling. My parents were out in right field. Everybody's going real crazy. I had 1 strike, 2 strikes. So I kind of knew the moment was coming. But it was a really surreal moment. I'm kind of glad it happened with the 3rd out of the inning, because it was very overwhelming. But it was cool. It was a very good experience.
So I was with the baseball team, so I was not there to see what happened. What happened when you got off the field? What was the dugout like?
Dugout, everybody came out. Chelsea Pena, she was the first one to come hug me. Carson came over. I kind of got bombarded with all of my teammates. So it was good to know that they're behind my back all the time. Well,
that is an outstanding achievement, and I guess just getting off to a 3-0 start in conference play is probably the most important thing for you. Talk about this weekend, because, boy, when your offense has big games, that's good for the pitcher. And I know you guys hit 7 home runs in the final game against Tennessee State. What was that like this weekend?
I think we had really good energy in the dugout this weekend. And, yeah, getting to a 3-0 start, that's a really good way to start the conference season, because it is a long season. And with the 3-game series now, you can win the weekend and not just sweep the doubleheader. So, yeah, really good energy. I think we're getting on the right track. I think we're on the right foot, and this was a really good way to start conference.
Boy, your first home games. I mean, you guys played 21 games
on the road
away from Cape Girardeau. What was that like?
It's fun. It's nice to sleep in your own bed on the weekend and not have to worry about traveling, like where's my stuff at, getting ready in the morning. You're kind of more in your routine, feel a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, I love playing at home. Love our field.
Well, what do you do when you are on the road for as long as you guys were? Obviously, you came back to Cape in between series and some of your road trips. But how different is it to play on the road versus playing over at Sprigg and Bertling?
Kind of just the environment a little bit. Every field is different. The dirt's different. The stadium, the fans, like just kind of the environment in general. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those scenarios where you get back home, start conference play on the right foot, and from what I understand, there was a pretty big crowd there over the weekend.
Yeah, we had a lot of fans. We love it. We love everybody coming out to the field and watching us.
All right, so you are from Republic, Missouri. Now explain where Republic is for those who may not know.
It is just west of Springfield, Missouri on US 60. It's the next town over.
All right. Well, I was just in Springfield all weekend, and you said you're familiar with Hammons Field and the facilities over there. Tell us about it.
It's where the Springfield Cardinals play. It's a minor league team. I think they're AA.
AA,
yep.
Right.
That's where Missouri State baseball plays, obviously. It's downtown Springfield. I've been there a handful of times watching the Springfield Cardinals, and I actually went to Missouri State camp, and they used their indoor facility out in right field. It's very nice, all turf indoor, cages that drop down. It's a really, really beautiful facility.
Now, I know baseball has an indoor facility. Does softball, are they allowed to go in there? Can you go in there and
we do go in there sometimes, yeah. We kind of have to work around baseball because that is their facility, but, yeah, we get to use it.
I was going to say, how much of a luxury is that to have that? I know you guys do indoor workouts at Houck Fieldhouse, but so do a lot of other teams, and so it can get a little crowded over there, right?
Yeah, sometimes the schedule's a little tight. Got to work around people coming in, people coming out. Got to drop the nets, take the nets off. It's kind of a production sometimes.
Well, you guys recently got that new video board over at the softball complex. Talk about that. Yeah,
the video board's really cool. We all get to do a little player intro, short little 3-5-second clips of all of us when the lineup gets announced. Got a big video board. We've got padded fences, too, so we have a really nice field over there.
They have upgraded some things over there, and it is unique in that it's got the little hill there where you can throw your portable chairs down there, and you don't have to sit actually in the bleachers. You can pick other spots to watch a ball game.
Yep, we've got people out in left field, and my parents like to sit in right field up on the hill. Yeah, fill the hill.
Isn't it weird, though, with the video board, they never turn it off. They say you're supposed to not turn it off, but it's weird driving by there late at night and the big.
It's all lit up with the Red Hawks.
Right, with the Red Hawk logo. That's weird.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the football field. That one never turns off either.
Yeah, the one at the football field a little bit bigger, right?
Yes, a little bit bigger than the one we got.
So when did you start playing softball?
I've been playing since T-ball, but I started competitive when I was 11, 12.
Have you always been a pitcher? Did you always want to pitch? Were you originally a position player? Did you want to be a position player?
I just kind of tried pitching because, you get to that age, it's like, well, we just got to figure out who can do it. Well, I could do it, and I liked it, and I just stayed doing it. But when I wasn't pitching, I was actually in the outfield. Yeah, so I got to do a little bit of everything.
All right. How were you as a hitter?
That's why I'm a PO now. I did not get recruited to be a hitter, but that's okay. I know my strengths.
All right. So what's your best pitch?
Rise ball.
Rise ball.
Yeah, as a fifth year, there's enough video scouting reports like I am a rise ball pitcher.
What's interesting is in baseball, it is physically impossible to throw a rise ball. Now, sometimes a guy's fastball appears to rise, but it does not. It's physically impossible to throw a rise ball. How long did it take you to really master that particular pitch?
I've kind of always had one. In high school, I kind of had a cheater's rise, so it didn't have a lot of sharp movement. But when I got here, I would say probably my freshman, sophomore year is kind of when I started to get the hang of it and really get the mechanics and the true rise ball action down. Is
Coach Redbird hands-on with the pitchers, or is assistant coaches work more with the pitchers? How does that work?
Coach Redbird and Coach Jones are both pretty active with us every day in practice and in the pins and stuff.
What is the toughest pitch to throw or to master, to be able to have control of?
For me, it's a changeup. Jones is laughing at me, but yeah, that one's been hard for me. I'm sure everybody has that one pitch that's just real hard for them, and for me, it's a changeup.
Boy, and you really have to do that. You have to be able to change speeds because, hitters are going to lock in on particular speeds, and if you can't change speeds, you could be in trouble, right?
Yeah, especially with really good hitters, really good teams, they can adjust. And if you throw the same speed all the time, eventually they're going to catch up to it. So changing speeds is really important.
All right. This is Rachel Rook. She was last year's OVC Pitcher of the Year. When you heard that you were named Pitcher of the Year last season, what was that like?
I think we were on the bus actually. So I sleep a lot on the bus, so I woke up to everybody like hitting me like, "Hey Rachel, you got pitcher of the year," or whatever. But that was really exciting. I was very shocked, surprised. Wasn't expecting it. Not doing this for records and accolades and stuff, but it was really cool to have that high honor.
I've been riding SEMO buses for about 20 years, and I cannot sleep on a bus. It is physically impossible. And I see some of these athletes, I mean, we're not even out of Cape Girardeau city limits, and they're snoring on the bus.
Already asleep. I sleep on the floor, actually.
Oh, that's
so you don't have to curl up in the seat.
There's always one or two people that are right in the middle of the aisle
Yep.
sleeping on the floor.
That's me. I'm in the middle.
All right, and only the rookie travelers don't bring a pillow. You have to have a pillow on a road trip.
Yep. You gotta teach the freshmen the ways.
So, how many do they stack in the hotel rooms?
We're two to a room.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get twin beds, and it's two to a room. Do you normally do they pair you up with the same person? Do they switch it up? I know because bonding and camaraderie on road trips is big for teams.
Yeah. No, we switch it up every weekend. They try to do it not with your roommates. So the 4 girls that I live with, I probably won't room with them over the weekend. But yeah, I mean they switch up positions, ages, classes, all of that. So we get to hang out with everybody.
So Tennessee State, before you go into a game, how much of a scouting report do you have? How much video can you watch? I mean, there's a pretty extensive scouting report that I know that the coaches develop. How much individually do you do to prepare for a particular opponent?
Yeah, the coaches do a lot of homework, but I don't do a whole lot. I treat every hitter like a 3-4 hole hitter, and I'm just going to go attack them and do what I do. So, I mean, they'll tell me, like, hey, this girl's, like, dead pull or she chases this or whatever. But I usually kind of do that, like, the day of because I don't really want to overthink it and try to do too much and, like, overcorrect. So they just give me a brief little summary of what I need to look out for, and then I just go out there.
So in softball, which is different than baseball, I mean, you need days off if you're a pitcher. I mean, depending on how many pitches you throw in baseball, you have to have days off. I mean, you just can't pitch every day. Softball pitchers, they can pitch almost every day.
Yeah.
Explain how tired you get after a particular game and why you can bounce back so quickly, and how often have you started both games of a doubleheader?
Both games of a doubleheader, I don't think I've done that.
Okay.
I'm sure I've like started and then come into the second one. But yeah, I have 2 days off a week, throwing 200, 300 pitches in a weekend. But we have a really good athletic training staff. They help me out. They get me back in shape for the next game. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot different motion than baseball, the overhand versus underhand. So it is easier on your joints and your muscles and everything. But I just kind of keep myself loose all week.
So I'm sure you've seen these videos that you can find on YouTube and different places of like Jenny Finch striking out Albert Pujols or striking out John Kruk or somebody who, gets in the box. How cool is it when you watch stuff like that? Because let's face it, I mean, I don't care how good of a hitter you are. If you're a baseball guy, it is totally different facing a softball pitcher.
Yes, especially someone like Jenny Finch or Kat Osterman. You see those videos all the time, and I just think it's really funny.
So as far as Southeast Missouri State goes, you guys have won back-to-back OVC championships. What's the mood of the team? Because you did lose some pretty good players off of last year's team.
Yeah, so I think everybody understands kind of the precedent and the culture that has been built up since Coach Redburn's been here. And so everybody works really hard to keep that and keep it going and make it better. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to the rest of the season.
What I think is interesting is that Ashley Ellis is a part of the coaching staff. How cool is that somebody who you were teammates with now has decided that they want to dip their toe in the coaching waters?
Yeah, it's kind of nice. She's kind of the middle ground between the players and the coaches, and so the relationship is just a little bit different, especially because I played with her for 4 years. But she's a really good person to go to if you kind of have an in-between kind of question or whatever.
So during hitting practice, does she ever get frustrated and just say, "Give me the bat. This This is how it's done right here.
Oh, I'm sure she does. She hits fungos for us, so she gets to work on her barrel control, is what coaches say.
How fun was it to watch her swing the bat?
It was very fun. It helped me out a lot in lots of games. But, yeah, she's fun. She was a great player, and she was a great teammate.
So now that you're an upperclassman, how much responsibility do you think it is for you to try and be a leader, especially with some of the younger pitchers?
Yeah, it is really important. Me and Kaylee Anderson were the two fifth years, and Chelsea Pena is a senior. So we don't have a lot of upperclassmen. But it is really important, like I said, that culture, that precedent that's been set. We want to keep that, and that's what has made us successful. That's what has made this program successful. So it's important that we kind of teach the younger ones like what we do, how we do it, what's right, what's wrong. It's just real important.
So you threw a no-hitter earlier this season. What was that like?
Central Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun. I don't think I've had very many of those.
Even in high school?
I think I had quite a few in high school,
I was
but in
gonna
college,
say.
I don't think I've had only like a handful of them. But like at this level, that's really hard. I mean, everybody's Division I, everybody's good, everybody was the best hitter on their team in high school, travel ball or whatever. So I mean, to be able to do something that impressive, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel confident in myself.
So in baseball, there's a tradition. While a pitcher has a no-hitter, no one talks to him in the dugout. In fact, you see teammates are sitting on the other end of the dugout. Nobody talks to the pitcher. Do they do that in softball?
Yeah, that's just kind of how I am anyways. I'm kind of in my own little world a little bit. Yeah, so I guess it's the same for me. Nobody really talks to me in the dugout.
So did you know that you were closing in on a no-hitter?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think about it in the moment, but I mean, you look at the scoreboard and you see a 0 under the H column or whatever. So, I mean, I knew it was going on, but I was having a really good day, so I was just kind of cruising. Now,
you were close to a perfect game earlier this season. Tell us about that.
It was that game.
Okay.
We had 2 outs in the 7th, and I had a 2-out walk.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a little disheartening.
Were you thinking about it? I mean, do you feel like pressure? I cannot walk this person. I'm so close.
Yes, at that point, that late in the game, I knew that I was closing in on it, and it might have gotten my head a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, so you're deep into a game like that. How much does fatigue enter in terms of being a softball pitcher?
For me, during a game, I don't really feel it a whole lot, but throughout the weekend, you'll feel it a little bit, especially on a day 2 or a day 3 like we had in preseasons. But I think I recover pretty quickly. I've kind of figured out what I need to do during the week to prepare for the weekend, and then what I need to do after to prepare for the next.
So, I mean, baseball pitchers' arms get sore. Do you ever have a sore arm, a sore elbow? I mean, nothing that is probably injury related.
Oh yeah.
But you ever have aches and pains in your shoulder, your elbow?
Yeah,
forearm?
a little bit. I mean, I'm a 5th year. I'm old. I've been doing this a while. Sometimes that does kind of come into play, but it's never really been a super big issue for me.
All right. What teams do you think are going to be your biggest challenges as you go forward to try to defend these 2 straight championships? And it's interesting. Nobody won just one game over the weekend. Everybody either swept or got swept. It's Murray, Martin, Belmont, SEMO, and Eastern Illinois, all 3-0. And then 0-3, Tech, P, TSU, SIUE, and Morehead State. It's interesting that it started that way. Nobody won 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3. They were all sweeps. Who do you expect to be some of your toughest competition?
Murray's always been a pretty good team. They've got their starting pitcher back, and I think they got a handful of transfers too. So that's always a good series. And Austin P, I know they've got 2 good hitters coming back and their pitchers back too. But really, I mean, I think we have a pretty tough conference. Anybody can beat anybody on any day. But I think I would say Murray, Belmont, and Austin P would probably be 3 of the tougher series.
So when you look at the schedule and you know which road trips you're going on in conference play, which places you're like, oh, I hate going there. I just do not like playing there.
I really don't like playing at SIUE. I don't know what it is about it. Every time we've been there, I just don't like going there.
And the good thing about SIUE is it's fairly close.
It is fairly
like
close.
Murray and Martin.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as long a road trip.
Yeah, maybe it's just the short road trips I don't like.
Could be that.
I don't know.
How brutal was it going to Jacksonville State? That is the worst bus ride.
Yeah, it's a long drive, and I think the past 2 years that was our last weekends of conference, and we had to come back to Cape and then back down there for the conference tournament.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a lot of back and forth, lots of hours on the bus. That's never fun.
So what's it like not having Jacksonville State there, because they're always challenging for a top spot in the OVC?
Yeah, my first 4 years they were always. That was the series to look forward to. That was the team to beat. Like, that was kind of like the goal was to beat Jacksonville. It's like a big deal if they lost. So it's kind of nice to not have them in the conference. You know, you kind of like that gives us the top spot. But honestly, I think I'm just looking forward to not driving down there again.
Boy, you're not kidding. How about, was it Okaloosa, whatever park that was that they play in? Choccolocco.
Yeah.
That's it, Choccolocco. But it's a nice facility.
No,
Choccolocco
it
is.
Yeah, it's a really nice facility, and their baseball field is right next to it. That's really nice too. I think there's like a track complex back there.
Right.
So they've got all the sports out there. That's really nice. They do a really good job keeping up with it too.
And you know they've got a lot going on at that particular complex. All right, so as you guys get ready for the second weekend of conference play, let me check the schedule here. You got a midweek game with SIU. How big of a rivalry is that? Because it's big in other sports. I just don't know. How big of a rivalry are the Salukis in softball?
It's a pretty big rivalry. I mean, they're right across the river, and it's always a rivalry for us in the other sports. But a lot of the girls on the Carbondale team, we know them or played with them because they're all kind of from the same area. So there's a little bit added rivalry on top of that.
So
just being close.
A little bragging rights.
A little bit.
All right. Well, I guess the longest trips left now that Jacksonville's gone are Moorhead and Cookeville, Tennessee Tech. So you'll be going to Cookeville. That's over 5 hours.
Yeah.
So you've got to make that drive. What are their facilities like?
Cookeville. I'm trying to think. There's just so many places.
All right.
They all kind of run together at some point.
I just know it is a long bus trip to head to Tennessee Tech. So how excited was everybody to finally play, home softball? Because I've got to believe that there were, I know parents travel to certain places, but everybody, you probably are going to get more families that are going to come to Cape Girardeau when you guys play here.
Yeah, we have a lot more parents come to our home games, and we love our field. The facilities keeps up with it. It's great, and you practice out there all the time, but kind of seeing it on a game day, it kind of adds a different element to it. So yeah, we love playing at home.
So in baseball, we're seeing a lot more turf. Okay, there are a lot of turf fields. Obviously, the surrounding areas there, softball and soccer, surrounding your softball complex, a lot of turf. How often do you actually play softball on turf?
Not very often. A lot of the schools have an all-natural field, but some of the, like Kansas, like bigger SEC schools, they'll have a turf outfield and foul area, but then the infield is dirt. And those are really nice. Probably with the upkeep, that's probably a lot cheaper on them than trying to tarp a whole field. Can't play because of the rain and stuff like that. But most of the time, we're playing on all-natural field.
So did you all know when Coach Redburn won his 400th, did you know that it was his 400th victory, or did you find out after the fact?
I didn't know. I knew he was close because I remember reading it in the article, but I didn't know if it would have happened this weekend or next weekend. I just didn't really know how many he was away. I knew he was close.
All right. We got to have a Coach Redburn story. Give us your best Coach Redburn story before we bring him on.
Oh, goodness. I don't know. There's a lot in the 5 years I've been here. I wasn't here for this one, but I think it was the year before I got here. The backwards bear crawls up a hill. That one, he's laughing right now. That one comes up a lot. He made them do bear crawls backwards up the hill right next to our field. Right field. Yeah, they had to go all the way up and touch their feet on the sidewalk and then go all the way back down. So that's kind of the running joke is like, oh, like, is Coach going to make us do backwards bear crawls? Like, is he going to be so mad at us that he's going to make us do something crazy like that?
Interesting. Well, we'll have to get to the bottom of these backward bear crawls. Rachel, again, congratulations on the strikeout record. We
Thank
certainly will be rooting on the Red Hawks to win another OVC championship and tournament championship. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
All right, fellow Ginger, Rachel Rook, SEMO's all-time strikeout leader. We're going to talk it over with the Red Hawks head coach. Mark Redburn will join us when we come back. You're listening to the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN. In Cape Girardeau, we just talked with Rachel Rook, the star pitcher for the SEMO softball team, the two-time reigning OVC champion. She's the reigning OVC pitcher of the year. She will certainly make a run at that title again this year, and she just broke the all-time strikeouts record held formerly by Elaine Fisher. And I think around 2008, whenever when Fisher was here. So the record has stood for a few years, but it belongs to Rachel Rook now. And I mean, we just played the first conference series. I mean, she may set the record so high, nobody's ever going to catch Rachel Rook. So we appreciate her time. We want to remind you that here at Wings Etc., you know all about their award-winning wings. Well, did you know there are over 70 menu items that are not wings related? That's right. They have over 70 items on the menu, and they have revamped their menu. They have terrific burgers, freshly made. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. If you're coming for lunch, they've got daily half-pound lunch specials starting at just $7.99. Good luck finding a nice big lunch splurge for only $7.99. And, of course, when you walk in, you see all of the high-definition televisions, and they've got the greatest and latest sports programming here at Wings Etc. They have food and drink specials throughout the week. They have a terrific kids menu, so it is a family-friendly location. And did you also know that you can get it delivered right to your front door, wherever you are, by using the DoorDash app on whatever mobile device you've got? Just log in, download the DoorDash app. It takes you just minutes to set up an account, and you can have Wings Etc. delivered wherever you want. It's Wings Etc., home of the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Good food and great times. Let's welcome in Red Hawks softball coach Mark Redburn. Boy, Rachel Rook, she did a great job, didn't she?
She did. She did an awesome job. It was a pleasure to hear. I know she was really nervous about that at first, but thought she did a great job.
She didn't act nervous.
No, that's how she is, though. She's kind of, I always talk about she's got, ice water in her veins, even when she's out there pitching, so she don't show emotion. So
is it different coaching gingers than other hair colors? I need to get to the bottom of this.
I'm not going to answer that. No, it's every one of them are different. It's funny because, she was talking about what she hears and talking to her during the game, and your players are all different. Some people want a lot of feedback, and, some players, like she was saying, I'm just kind of in that moment. I've prepared and, give me minimal information. And so each one of your players are different, what they need.
Have you ever seen the movie For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
Great movie.
Oh, yeah.
But in that movie, he had the ability on the mound, clear the mechanism, and he doesn't hear the crowd, and he's just focused in. Some players are like that, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say that because another movie of his that I think is a classic is Bull Durham. But it's we talk about that, we laugh. We can't show some of these movies anymore to our players because it's like they were common back back in the day. But now it's like I don't know if we can watch that one on the bus. So, but no, they got great messages, and I think things that pertain to our players and what they're going through and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's all good stuff.
Some of the movies to show on the bus, you can get into the Rocky movies or either of the Creed movies. I mean, those are make you want to run through a wall.
Yeah, funny story about that. Last year, I think it was, we were down at Auburn, and we had that big snowstorm, and we could only make it back to Tupelo. And even then, it was tough to get to Tupelo. We were going like 20 miles an hour on the highway. And
I tell you right now, they do not have snow plows in Mississippi because we drove down there in baseball, and I stopped at a gas station, and they said, we don't have snow plows in this state.
Right. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty hairy. It was a little rough. We had some nervous players and, that sort of thing. But and again, this just tells you kind of how I am. I wasn't thinking about it. It's like, well, let's put a movie in. And again, I didn't put two and two together, but I put Miracles on Ice, on there. So we watched Miracles on Ice. So I heard some people talking about that. It's like, really? Out of all these movies, you pick Miracles on Ice, and here we are in this snowstorm driving 20 miles an hour. So,
well, it's a good thing you didn't pick the what's the soccer movie where they crashed in the snowy mountains and had to eat some of the people.
Eat each other. That wouldn't be a good one.
Yeah,
either.
that's the wrong movie selection.
I think we had a few bags of peanuts still on the bus though, if it got to that point. So I don't know.
So you have won back-to-back OVC championships. So you now know what it's like to have a bullseye on your back, because that's a very real thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I know it was for me when I came into the league, and Jacksonville State had it, for me personally. But that's where you want to be. That means you're doing things the right way, and being consistently successful. That's what we talk about, with our players, and where we want to be as a program. And, again, I know Rachel did a great job in kind of talking about our culture and everything, but it's, we always said we don't want to be one-hit wonders. We want to have a program and a culture where every single year there are expectations, even for new players and freshmen. I told our players, I don't know, a couple weekends ago, some of our freshmen, it's like, if you're out there playing right now and I've got you in the lineup, then I've got expectations for you to perform. And I'm not going to treat you necessarily any different or anything like that, because if you're out there, you got to meet these expectations in whatever the situation or scenario is. But, so I think that was a little bit of a wake-up call for them, but that's just kind of how we do it, and we've got some players that are there and some that still need development and coming along. And so, I think that's just, what's made us really good here, and players such as Rachel and previous players in our program and, living up to that.
So when you recruited Rachel Rook out of Republic, Missouri, did you have – now, obviously, you thought she was going to be – you're not recruiting somebody who you don't think can perform for your program. But did you have any expectations that she was going to be this good, that she was going to be the all-time strikeouts leader at SEMO?
No, but, I knew that she could be really good because, just looking at her physically, long legs, long arms, she has a lot of strikeouts at the high school level at that time. And one of the things you look for are, you're getting strikeouts, but how are you getting them? And, how many times do players put barrels on the ball and, foul a couple of them off, or they chase out of the zone? But, she was just kind of spinning it and throwing it past people, and, a lot of people weren't getting barrels on it. And, so that's always a good sign, power pitcher and, walks to strikeout ratio and all that kind of stuff. But I knew she could have some things that could be tweaked to take her to that next level. And again, to her credit, she did that, and she bought in and, put the work in and is always consumed with her craft. And, again, going back to some new young players and freshmen and things like that, that's the biggest thing they got to learn, and being able to look up to older players and why they're so successful. It's not just always athletic related, but what did they do to get to that athletic level? And so that's what we tell our freshmen. But she did it. We've had other players that have come in that also had, potential, but they didn't do anything with it. So, it's always about them. We always talk about being accountable for their own development. Coaches can kind of help you and lead you and guide you, but ultimately they've got to want it, And she certainly wants it, and that's why our program is where it is today.
How tough is it to figure out if a pitcher is going to translate from high school to the Division I level? Because we see a lot of high school softball pitchers that put up these magnificent numbers, but you don't see them excel, at Division I. Maybe they'll be a Division II pitcher and have some success, NAIA, something of that nature. How tough is it as a coach, as a recruiter, to figure out if they're going to be able to do it at the next level? Because, you see a lot of high school fans or, maybe family members or friends of the family say, well, why isn't SEMO recruiting? Look at the numbers. I mean, she's dominating. Or why isn't SIU recruiting, or St. Louis University? How tough is that to translate someone who's dominant in high school and whether or not they can make an impact at this level?
Well, I always talk about the upside, and this kind of, again, going back to Rachel, she was putting up some really good numbers, but she had a huge upside. And what I mean by that is I kind of kid with her a little bit about eating a Snickers bar every now and then, but, frame-wise and stature, knew she could get stronger. Mechanically, we saw some things that we thought we could tweak that would also help elevate her. Add another pitch to her arsenal instead of just being in high school where she could throw a rise ball all the time, just throw it by people. And so you bring them in, and you have camps and things like that, and you kind of work with them a little bit, and you see, how much do they buy into it, or how easy is it for them to tweak something, and they start to grasp it, whereas other kids you can, try to work with them on some things, but they don't have an understanding at all of what they're trying to do or what you're trying to get them to do. So to me, that's kind of a mental, thing or barrier. So it's all those factors, but she had an upside. She had success as a young player, but she had also a huge amount of upside to still go. And you see kids in high school now that have tremendous success, but they've peaked physically. or they're already throwing 3 or 4 pitches with movement. And so, again, if you can't tweak things mechanically, how much is their velo going to improve? So it's all that kind of stuff that you take into consideration, and then how much they can adjust. We got another pitcher right now, Patience Holman, and she's a different pitcher than what Rachel is. But if you tell her, hey, this is something I'm seeing, or something we need to work on, or something we need to adjust, I mean, you give her a day or two, and she's got it fixed. And so that's tremendously.
Not everybody could do that.
Exactly. And she feels really well what's happening, what's doing. And not all athletes feel what's going on with their body. And, so you got to try to figure other things, see them, watch video or, whatever. But even then it's still hard because they don't feel the changes they got to make. And that just plays into it. But, it's always tough out there. I mean, you see kids that you think also have tremendous upside, and then they don't pan out at all, and it's kind of one of those, guessing games a little bit.
Red Hawks softball coach Mark Redburn is our guest. We talked with Rachel Rook a little bit earlier. So 21 games on the road to start the season. Is that the most road games you've played to start a season or not?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
I know you play a lot of road games, every year.
Yeah,
early.
no. I think to start a year, though, I think it's pretty much about like that every year. We don't have artificial turf. I'd love to be at home, but we don't have artificial turf. You try to bring some northern teams down, and I get it. They're going to spend the money, but they also want to spend the money and have the risk of, at least if it's raining or a light rain or something, they're going to be on artificial turf. And we just don't have that. So they would rather spend that money and travel someplace to another school that maybe has it, here in the Midwest, or they just go a little bit further south. I mean, I'd be the first one to say we'd love to be at home, early on and for our fans. But we don't have it.
What do you think about playing on turf? It's certainly will be a different thing for a lot of these players. Maybe not so much in baseball because you see it a lot more in high schools. I know Cape Central just got artificial turf. What about playing softball on turf?
You're seeing it more at the high school levels, especially in this area. There's a lot of high schools that have it. But for us, JSU was the only school that had it. So I go back to what you just asked me, and it's like, yeah, I'd like to have it, but at the same time, I don't want to play all of our games and have our practices on artificial turf, and then we go play conference play and we're playing on dirt again. So I think it's kind of one of those things until we get more schools in the conference that are doing it. I'm still okay. I'm still an all-natural guy anyway. I love the grass and the dirt. It's more work and it's more time, absolutely. But like Rachel said, too, you get out there and you smell that grass after our guys have cut it, and, it's
There's nothing like that.
I'm telling you, I'm old school. Yeah, I love it.
So where is give us an update on the tournament. Who is hosting the tournament? I know Jacksonville's no longer in the conference, and Chacalaco was a destination. What's going on right now with the OVC tournament?
So we're in our last year, I guess. Our 1-year deal is what we signed, and it's going to be back down there again. And, those folks do a phenomenal job. As a coach, as a team, all you got to do is show up and play. There's really not, in my opinion, an advantage of hosting because you're the one having to do all the work. And you're losing sight and focus of what's going on. And then all these other games to be played. You got your players out there with the tarp on, tarp off, and then coaches are out there, raking in turfus and all this other stuff and drying agent. And you kind of lose focus of that. So I'm one of those, I just would rather go and tell me what time we play. And I'd love to be here at home and everything. But, again, it just comes back to resources and dollars. And we don't have grounds crew people and people that can be out there taking care of all of these needs for us. And, to be honest, too, each school is going to be a little bit different in how much work and effort they put into it.
Sure.
I'm all about the environment and the event for our players. And that's why I was a proponent of Alabama. I know it's further away, but, all these schools travel to go to these places, and they do a great job. And in my opinion, it's an experience for our players. And they do it right, and that's what it's all about. I want my players to feel like they're in a championship venue. And, so going to some other school that's going to host it, and hey, can your team help us put the tarp on or take the – and that's not an exaggeration. That's happened before too.
Yep.
So, it's one thing if you're doing that during a conference weekend, but, your championship event, you don't have to be worrying about that.
So when you first heard it was going down to Chocolaco, your first impression, was it like, oh, what? I mean, this is going to be the Jacksonville State Invitational. It's literally like 15 minutes from their campus, but, it turned out to be a terrific venue. And then what was it like when you finally knocked off the Gamecocks? I mean, because they ruled the OVC for a long time in softball.
Yeah, they did. And I don't know. I think we're something like 9-4 against Jacksonville State over the last 2 years. And because of the schedule format and the COVID and everything, I think the last 2 years we played the last conference weekend at their place. And I don't know. I think we split both times or something. But, on their own field, we're splitting with them. And then we go to the tournament, and it's funny because the last 2 years of the tournament, we've only played 2 teams, EKU and Jacksonville State, the entire tournament for 2 years. And, we knock them off the first time back-to-back on Sunday in front of their fans. And then last year, we knock them out and go into the champs. So, and you look at Oklahoma City for softball. I mean, everybody now, granted, I think it's a nice advantage now for Oklahoma, but, before everybody went to Oklahoma City. Everybody goes up to Omaha. Is that an advantage for Creighton? Is that an advantage, for Nebraska, Omaha, or Nebraska? I mean, but you just have those set places. And we just said to our players, it's like, look, it don't matter. We will play anyone, anywhere, anytime. That's our motto. And they've lived up to it. And so, like I said, that's why I kind of liked it there, because I didn't feel like it was a home field advantage for J-State anymore. Kind of felt like it was our place. So,
well, you took ownership. Now, do I remember this correctly? When they first announced that you were going to play the tournament down there, you scheduled to play down there early in the season because you wanted –
yeah,
you wanted your players to see what the tournament venue was all about. Do I remember that right?
Yeah, I put on a tournament down there.
Yeah,
I put on a tournament. We brought in 8 different teams, and they hosted us for that, and we put on a tournament. And again, I just wanted our players to get used to that environment and feel like this is a pretty natural place as well. And I think they did that. And and like I said, they've always been good to us, and I think they really appreciated us taking a chance on them by wanting to host a tournament down there. So, that's kind of how it started. I don't know, 6 years ago or so, something like that.
So, are you hearing any whispers of this is the final year of the contract down there, that maybe they'll extend it? Are you hearing potentially other venues that may get in the bidding process?
Yeah, I think right now it'll probably end up going back to schools.
Really?
This is the last year, but then it becomes the question of, well, do you do it based on who wins it that year, or do you do it who won it the previous year, or is it simply a bid process? And that's the other part of it. You just don't know. But I'm certainly not one of those that says, hey, we're going to the last weekend and we still don't know where the conference is going to be. Our conference is going to be played the following weekend. So I would, want it to be, either from the previous year, or you put in a bid and received it, so that at least you can make plans, and where to stay.
Sure.
And the other issue is going back to the university campuses. You've got graduation weekend going on that time. So most of the time there's not hotels, and, everybody's scrambling, like I said, to find a room, and you end up staying 45 minutes away or something like that, or an hour away. And I just don't think that that's conducive to our student athletes,
Back in the day, I think 2000 may have been the last, 99 or 2000 was the last year, I think, in baseball. The regular season champion got to host. Now, Eastern Illinois won some titles. They didn't have lights, so they couldn't host.
Yeah.
They still don't have lights. I don't know there's another Division I stadium anywhere that doesn't have lights. But so that you would have to wait till the final weekend. People don't understand. I mean, that's a scramble when it comes to travel and hotel needs.
Absolutely. And then, that's just for the 8 teams attending. Then you got all those parents, that want to attend. So, it does. It gets a little hairy, like I said. So, I don't know. It'll probably either be a bid process so that we at least know out in advance, or it'll be the previous year's champion. But that's what I suspect, because there's just no venues. That's the other reason going back to Alabama. There is no, which I'm really surprised. There's nothing in St. Louis. There's nothing in Nashville where it is a true softball stadium type venue. There's plenty of parks.
Sure.
But again, it's a Division I, sport. I don't think, because those kids playing that stuff every weekend of every summer, to them that's nothing, So again, that's why I was kind of a proponent of that, because it's a stadium, feel. And so I don't know if I had enough money, though. I'd build us a softball stadium someplace and bring in a bunch of people and host the venue. Like I said, I'm surprised St. Louis area hasn't done it, or Nashville, or whatever.
What I think is interesting, if it was an opportunity for Cape to host the tournament, to me, you guys could pull it off no problem, especially with all the surrounding turf fields that you've got for, in terms of hotels. There are plenty of hotels here in Cape. This would be a good place if it did come down to maybe a bid process, right?
Yeah, I'd be all for it. And Cape City, give me a call. I'll help you. So, when you think about it, that really all you got to do is take one of their existing, like over there at Shawnee, take one existing field and make that or dedicate that to a stadium's type feel, where you build up a nice brick background with bleachers. Sure. And it really wouldn't take much. And that's why I'm saying I think there's money to be had out there for any city or municipality that would want to take that on, because you've got the Missouri Valley right here in our kind of neck of the woods as well. They're always looking for a place, but right now they travel around from school to school also. Then not to mention all the numerous D2s, conferences that are here in the area. I don't know. Anyway.
So how about the way the conference is fluctuating now? We're going to say goodbye to Murray, Belmont, and Austin Peay. Here comes Lindenwood, Arkansas, Little Rock, and Southern Indiana. Your thoughts about the schools that are coming in to the OVC and their softball programs?
Yeah, I didn't understand the Arkansas, Little Rock. They don't have football. They don't have softball.
They don't have softball?
No,
I don't understand it either.
So anyway, but no, I think USI is a good one. They won the Division II World Series just 3 years ago. Lindenwood, right there, outside of St. Louis, huge campus facilities. I get that. I get the USI, being there in the Evansville market. So those are going to be good programs that come in softball, and it'll be a challenge. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how our format will change, and going back to the conference tournament. But yeah, they're good schools, and it'll be nice to see them, and a little bit closer to home as well. So
how about Lindenwood and how that could affect your recruiting in the St. Louis area? More competition for you up there now, because when they go Division I, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to affect us. I'm just going to go on the record and say it.
Okay.
No, I respect them and all, but it's just I love what we're doing here and everything. Now, do we lose recruits out to SLU and Missouri State and places like that, Carbondale? Absolutely, but I think what we have here and what we're doing and the schedule that we play every year, I think our culture, our academics at the university, I think we've got a great thing. And, Lindenwood, I think everybody's got to live on campus. And I get it. It's in St. Charles and it's outside of, but, most kids want to get away from home a little bit too. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be tough, but I'll be a little upset or frustrated if I lose out recruits to Lindenwood.
Understandable. All right. So, we talked with Rachel about, Jacksonville's gone. Who do you think are going to be the schools that are going to be battling to win this regular season championship? Yeah,
I said this a couple of times. I think there's probably 5 different schools that could win it. I think everybody's going to kind of beat up on everybody. I think, whoever does win it's going to have 5, 6, 7 losses in conference play. It's just pitching's really good in our conference this year. Murray's got a couple of really good ones, and Martin and, obviously us with Rachel and Pay and Marissa Davis. It's just kind of one of those things. I think, that's how it's going to shake out. And the thing concerns me a little bit for us, and we're getting there, but we're so young. I mean, depending on our lineup, 6 or 7 out of our starters are either freshmen or sophomores. So we've seen a little bit of that already this year with some of that. When you've got young players, it's a little bit inconsistent.
Sure.
We're a little up and down. Go out and beat Iowa, the other day, but then we get short game by Kansas, and we didn't play well and had no business being short game by Kansas like that. So, it's just development, and they're coming around, and I think we're kind of finding that groove. But with young players, you just not quite sure how they're going to react to everything. So when it comes down to this conference, championship, I just, who makes the fewest mistakes on game day?
The old saying is the best thing about freshmen is they will eventually become sophomores.
Yeah.
So as you get ready to head to Cookeville, actually, you're going to host SIU on Wednesday at 3:00. We asked Rachel, is that a pretty decent rivalry in softball? And she said, yeah. And I'm sure you see the Salukis on the recruiting trail all the time, right?
We do, yeah, and that is a battle, and Carrie's done such a great job over there, and now Jen, and they've had it rolling along over there for a while. So, if we can get a player that's also considering Carbondale, or we get a player, that chooses us over them, that's to me a big deal, because for Carbondale to be pursuing them, that's a pretty good player, and so I respect their program a lot. And so yeah, it is. It's good. It's a good test to see where we're at as well, and how things are going. But yeah, I'm excited about the weekend too. I mean, not that obviously we're looking past this midweek, but my focus, we're kind of now in that conference mode here and where we're at. So,
and one other thing, when Southern Indiana comes into the conference, you'll be traveling to your old stomping grounds, right, Evansville?
Yeah, and will and yeah, it'll be good. USI is a good program, and my son played baseball over there, and so. Yeah, it'll be a good experience, and like I said, they're a good school. You've seen their PAC arena or whatever. I mean, that's only a year old, and that's a phenomenal basketball facility. It's unbelievable what they've done over there. So anyway, we just got to keep just doing what we can here.
All right, you're getting ready to head to Cookeville. How do you like the way the conference stacks up for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's going to be tough. I know they're talking about some weather over there in Cookeville. We may have to bring our own tarp because Cookeville had some problems getting their tarp, or Tennessee Tech had problems getting their tarp on their field last year. But we managed to get it done, and I don't know. I just want people to do it the right way and compete, and that's what we go after. And people that don't do it the right way or compete, just is hard for me to tolerate. And that's all we ask for, and give it your best shot. And that's what we say to our players. You go out there and you just leave it all out there on the field, and you battle and you fight, and that's what you can hold your head up about. But you go out there and make excuses and all this and that, that's nobody wants to hear excuses. Everybody's got injuries. Our leadoff hitter, Jill Anderson, she's out for the year, hit leadoff for us last year as a freshman. But, until me bringing her up right now, I mean, we're not sitting there talking or whining because we don't have her. It's just what it is. So you just go fight and you battle, and everybody do the best they can and give your best effort.
Coach Mark Redburn just picked up his 400th head coaching victory over the weekend against Tennessee State. Congrats on the milestone, Coach, and we certainly wish you the best of luck defending those back-to-back championships that you've got, and we'll talk to you down the road. Thanks so much for squeezing us in today.
No, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. That
thank
is
you, man.
Coach Mark Redburn, and that's going to do it here from Wings Etc. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We'll be over in the Jackson location next week, so we hope you can join us then. Stay tuned. We'll get you back into regular programming here on ESPN Radio. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings.